Caroline Leavitt is the national press secretary for the Trump campaign, and she was interviewed on ABC yesterday. And it was pretty awesome. Mark Cuban, who said Trump is intimidated by strong, intelligent women and that you never see him around strong women, must not know about Miss Leavitt. This is a pretty long clip, but I think you'll enjoy it. That's if you care about the truth and aren't intimidated by strong, intelligent women.
Joining us now for more on the campaign is National Press Secretary for the Trump campaign, Caroline Leavitt. Caroline, thanks so much for your time tonight. As you heard in our last report, the former president today doubling down on that comment against Congresswoman Liz Cheney, calling her a coward, a dumb war hawk. What's the strategy here with this message and continuing to repeat that violent rhetoric?
Oh, first of all, President Trump is saying the truth. And he is 100% right about Liz Cheney and so many other who have made up the Washington, D.C. establishment class for so many years. They are so quick to take action that starts foreign conflict and wars, to send America's sons and daughters into overseas conflicts that many American soldiers have lost their lives in when they themselves have never served in combat. And this is an issue that both Democrats and Republicans, by the way, have taken with the Washington, D.C. establishment class for so many years. That's all President Trump was expressing on that stage last night. And it's shameful that we woke up today to so many misleading headlines from the mainstream media saying that President Trump was suggesting Liz Cheney should be executed. That is utterly absurd. What he was suggesting is that Liz Cheney maybe should understand the severe consequences of war before she tries to send more Americans overseas to fight in them.
We have been playing the soundbite in full to give our viewers that whole context if you've been listening to our shows, Caroline. But at the end of the day, the former president here is talking about putting the image out of guns being traded on a political opponent's head. I mean, are you prepared to accept the consequences of if there actually is violence and knowing that his words carry a lot of weight from with his own supporters?
The irony in your question, you want to talk about violence against political opponents. Let's talk about the fact that Democrats have been labeling President Trump a threat to democracy for the better half of 10 years. Let's talk about how they have compared him to Hitler, one of the worst mass murderers in the history of the world, and that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden weaponized the court system and the justice system in this country against Donald Trump in an attempt to imprison him. He sat through a courthouse for 7 weeks this past year, and the Democrats were hoping he would go to jail for it. That is real political violence that has led to 2 heinous assassination attempts on President Trump's life that, by the grace of God, he was able to escape, and he is here with us today. So yes, President Trump knows a little bit about political violence because he's experienced it himself. And talking about the tragic realities of war that Liz Cheney and her father, Dick Cheney, have got this country into is not political violence. It's talking about the reality of the foreign conflicts that the Washington, D.C. establishment have sold out young Americans to for decades.
Yet, of course, after those attempted assassination attempts on the former president's life, his opponents reached out to him and said they do not accept political violence. That has been a key difference there. I do want to play you.
No, please. His opponents are saying to this very day the same rhetoric that led to those 2 assassination attempts. The second attempted assassin on President Trump's life echoed the sentiment that President Trump is a threat to democracy. And if you're a deranged lunatic and you're mentally ill, you will believe that lie. And yes, you will take political violence like we have seen in 2 instances against President Trump. Last week, Tim Walz and Kamala Harris said that everyone who showed up to President Trump's rally at Madison Square Garden was a Nazi. That's despicable, dangerous, divisive rhetoric that is spewed by the Democrat Party every single day. And I am so sick and tired of the media pointing the finger at Donald Trump and saying that he is sowing division in this country. He is not. The media is for pushing hoaxes like the one that you all pushed today, and the Democrat Party is for pushing lies about him. But the good news is Americans don't buy it. And that's why today in 2024, President Trump is more popular than he has been since 2016 because people don't trust the media and they're not buying the Harris campaign's closing argument that he's some great threat to our democracy because they lived under him for 4 years as president and our democracy and our country was stronger than it is today.
I bet ABC won't have her back anytime soon. She rightfully called out the hateful rhetoric the Democrats spew on a daily basis, and she corrected the record about their lie that Trump called for violence against Liz Cheney. He did not. If you haven't seen it for yourself, here's the actual clip of what Trump said that the Democrats are twisting into being a death threat.
Is it weird for you to see Liz Cheney, that'd be Dick Cheney's repulsive little daughter, running against you with Kamala Harris?
Well, I think it hurts Kamala a lot, actually. Look, she's a deranged person. But the reason she couldn't stand me is that she always wanted to go to war with people. I don't want to go to war. She wanted to stay in Syria. I took them out. She wanted to stay in Iraq. I took them out. I mean, if it were up to her, we'd be in 50 different countries. She's a radical war hawk. Let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her, okay? Let's see how she feels about it. You know, when the guns are trained on her face. You know, they're all war hawks when they're sitting in Washington in a nice building saying, oh, gee, let's send 10,000 troops right into the mouth of the enemy.
Look, there is no way someone with a partially functioning brain can hear what Trump said and think it's a violent threat against Liz Cheney. All Trump said was that people like Liz Cheney might change their mind about sending troops into harm's way if she had to be one of the troops sent into harm's way. But then again, these are the same people that tried to say Biden didn't call Trump supporters garbage.
Or Puerto Rico, where I'm in my home state of Delaware, they're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is just supporters.
Now, I realize that we're in the middle of an election and the Democrats are desperate, but don't you find it ironic that they're the ones who complain about misinformation? Trump didn't threaten Liz Cheney's life. And he never called neo-Nazis very fine people. He never colluded with Russia. He never called soldiers that died storming the beach in Normandy suckers and losers. The purveyors of misinformation want you to believe that your ears and brains don't work. They want you to believe that Biden never called Trump supporters garbage. And they want you to believe that Trump will jail and murder his political opponents as they try to put him in prison and spew hateful rhetoric that likely led to 2 assassination attempts on his life. Caroline Leavitt laid it out nicely in this interview. As I've pointed out before, the Democrats are the masters of projection. They're guilty of everything they accuse their political opponents of. And that's the simple truth. Hey guys, thanks for watching. And if you all want to support this channel, check out the links in the description and let's keep putting some common sense back into the great debate.